Well, it's good afternoon. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a lunchtime special. I thought I'd do one. I'm working from home today, and of course, I'm sure you've all heard the news that we've got our fourth summer signing of this summer transfer window. 10 million euros with potential add-ons. Don't know the length of the contract as yet, but John Victor is going to be our fourth summer signing, a goalkeeper from Brazil. Now, whether he comes in to challenge Alphonse Areola or whether he's going to be a backup, we don't really know. I guess we're only going to know that when the season pans out and see how it goes. The player, what do we know about him? I'm sure we sort of know a little bit about him. He had a very short loan spell at Real Valladolid back in, I think, 2022, 23, where he made just 12 appearances for the Spanish club, but he kept 5 clean sheets in that particular stint. Otherwise, his career is mainly focused on playing in Brazil. He's a product of the Santos Youth Academy, and throughout his time there, he was constantly sent out on loan to various Brazilian clubs. And then in the end, he was sent out on loan to Spain. And when he returned, actually, it was a 23, 24. And then when he returned from Spain, he was sold to Botafogo for a fee of £1 million. So within a year, Botafogo have made just under £9 million profit on the goalkeeper. Or no, not 9 million. It's 10 million euros. So it's going to be £8 million, give or take. So they've made about £7.5 million in a space of a year. I would imagine possibly that Santos, given that he developed through them, will probably have a small sell-on fee as well. But that's between the Brazilian clubs. So it really only is in the last year that Victor has really risen to prominence in helping Botafogo to win the Copa Libertadores trophy, as well as the Brazilian League last season. Victor also came to the fore, he came to prominence in his excellent displays in the recent Club World Cup tournament. So apart from the few videos doing the rounds at the moment, which shows all his errors, the keeper has made kind of a solid start at Botafogo. He's only been there a year, but he's done really well. So is this a sound investment for West Ham? Well, this morning I put out a video all the time. It's all about timing, isn't it? This morning I put out a video suggesting that West Ham might do better spending the 10 million euros on second choice keeper at Man City, Stefan Ortega. Well, it's not happening now, is it? Even if Ortega was being considered, it's no longer coming to the fore. Ortega, for me, he had Premier League experience as well as Champions League experience. And despite being 3 years older than Victor, seems like a better way of spending that 10 million euros. But it wasn't to be. We welcome John Victor. He's going to wear the shirt. And of course, as West Ham fans, we'll support him and hope he does well. It's a big money move for Victor. He'll undoubtedly be earning a modest wage in the Brazilian league. So he's likely to, treble his salary coming to West Ham United. But is he any good for us? And these are the details that I've got. And this is a mishmash of the scout reports that I've been reading and the stats, etc., put together. I repeat, currently playing for Botafogo, carved out his reputation as one of South America's most composed and technically sound goalkeepers. And this is a breakdown of his style. I'm going to get to your comments in a minute. I can see them rising, so please don't think I've forgotten you. He's known for his sharp reflexes. He's got strong positioning. He's reliable on one-on-one situations, and he's quick to react to close-range shots. His save percentage in Brazil is 81%, making him the third best keeper in Brazil. He achieved that percentage, in the same percentage, 81%, in the Club World Cup against some of the best strikers in the world. He stands at 6'5", dominating aerial duels, confidently claiming crosses, and is very good at set pieces. His long-range passing and accuracy in building play from the back have drawn comparisons to some keepers in the Premier League. Now, he's not the sweeper keeper that Potter was ideally looking for, or that we thought Potter was looking for. His passing is kind of compared to that of Ederson at Man City, bypassing the midfield with drilled, accurate passes primarily out to the wings. So those passes help to initiate attacks from deep. He's calm, he's collected, even in high stakes matches like they were in the Club World Cup, which has made his potential transfer to a European club more prominent. His size and his athleticism make him a formidable figure in the box, often intimidating attackers and organizing his defense effectively. So he's not only commanding in the box, he organizes his defense really well as well. Now, there was a recent analysis written in The Athletic at the beginning of July, actually, which was quite complimentary on the whole about the keeper. It stated that Victor is one of the most informed keepers in South America, as I've just said. It covers in more depth about his ball distribution and again makes a comparison to Ederson and stating that his passes are driven rather than floated, which makes them hard for the opposition to intercept. Now, based on his passing range and ability, he would have ranked second best in the Premier League last season. The report went on to state his dominance in aerial duels. He attacks crosses progressively, coming off his line and covering ground really quickly. So he's not afraid. You know, unlike some of our keepers, I mean, one of the things that Fabianski had was not coming off his line often enough. And Areola was a bit like that as well. Now, the one thing that he prefers, which most foreign keepers do, is punching the ball rather than trying to catch it. Now, when his stats are compared to other goalies in the Premier League, his claim of crosses would rank him around the middle of the pack, around the likes of Aston Villa's Emiliano Martinez and Arsenal's David Raya. But the analysis also states quite clearly that the Premier League is a more physical league and that players in this league are less likely to pull out of aerial challenges. So John Victor is going to have to be prepared for this because that's one of his strong points. And if he finds that quite challenging, that could knock his confidence a little bit. But his strongest point is his shot stop, and he excels at that. Thank God. I mean, if a goalie can't shot stop, then what's he good for? But what's interesting about the report from The Athletic is how it finished. You should go and read that. Look it up. Just Google John Victor, The Athletic, and it will come up. Now, it finished in this way. It kind of said it would be unfair to fully compare John Victor to other goalies, Brazilian goalies like Ederson or Alisson, who were playing Champions League football at a very young age. But John Victor could be used as a very strong number 2 in a side rather than being a ready-made starter. And that, of course, seems to keep the door slightly ajar as to whether this keeper coming in is going to be the number 2 to Areola or is going to compete with him for the number 1 shirt. We kind of heard that it would be more going to be the number 2. But if that's the case, then does it mean that we're still looking for a number 1 keeper? Does it mean that quite potentially with John Victor coming in, that maybe we're still looking for that number 1 keeper? If that's the case, then perhaps we're still looking at Mads Hermansen from Leicester or Zion Suzuki from Parma. I'm not sure that our transfer business in terms of goalies is yet done, but it's going to be quite interesting to see how it pans out. I think what will happen is Victor will obviously be the number 2 initially, but whether he pushes Areola out, I mean, if Areola starts making mistakes in goal, puts himself under pressure, then who knows what might happen with Victor. All right, I'm going to look at your comments and then I'm going to get to some other transfer news or transfer gossip, should I say. So let's go all the way up. Good evening. Good evening. I'm so used to doing these shows at night, aren't I? Good afternoon to you, Glenn. How are you, mate? That's a David Sullivan signing again. Why don't someone get him out of our club? Because he's not a transfer man who goes out and does transfers. Our team is going to crap. Good afternoon to you, Daniela. How are you? Catch up late at work, no problem. You carry on working. Afternoon to you, usual. I hope you're well. Joey, good afternoon to you. As bad a window as the Zaza and Torre one. Well, let's see what happens when we actually start playing Premier League games. It could go that way. It could easily go that way. Good afternoon to you, Anthony. I hope you're well. You let this one slip. You came on just a bit early, mate. What did I come on just a bit? I didn't understand that. I, I always did I? Thought I came on about a minute late. I hope you're well, Anthony. Who else we got? John, good afternoon. Don't be late. I reckon 1:34, 4:30. Good afternoon to you, Peter. How are you? Cleaning out the cat litter tray is hard work for the old man with all the ben. No, we've got a garden. They go out and do it in the garden. You know, hopefully the neighbours' ones, not mine. Peter, we should have kept Fabianski instead of buying Roberto Mark II. You know, it's interesting because I worry, we all worry, don't we, that it's going to end up being a bit of a Roberto scenario. But at the same time, you know, this could be a revelation. At the same time, this could be some. I know what we're looking for is we're looking for the younger keeper. You know, that's why we got excited at the possibility of signing Mads Hermansen or Zion Suzuki and keepers like that. And then when you get linked to a keeper who's primarily done his business in Brazil, 29 years of age, a cheaper option, then you kind of go, you know, maybe we should have kept Fabianski. I don't know. Darren, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Can't believe we're not getting Hermansen or Suzuki. Penny pinching Sullivan written all over it. Does he want us in a relegation battle? Feel sorry for Potter. But what if, like I said, this report from The Athletic is quite interesting in how it ends. It gives Victor a lot of praise, but then it ends with he'd be a very good number 2 rather than a very good number 1. So it's going to be quite interesting to see whether our business in the transfer window for goalies is done or not. We're shopping in Primark. Gary, good morning, mate. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed the game over in America the other day. Matt, Potter has been shafted. I don't think John is awful, but clearly not a top target of Potter and Macaulay's. DA, good afternoon to you. Good evening to you from Canterbury, New Zealand. I hope you're well, mate. Kim Joe, 2 terrible signings in a row. So uninspiring. I mean, you know, what do we say about the Callum Wilson signing that we haven't already said? It's not what we expected. It's not what we wanted. All I can do, I mean, as a fan, you're going to go, all right, it is what it is. We're going to have to we accept what we're given, and let's hope that it works out. I mean, the Wilson signing, by calculation, Wilson was on about 60 grand a week, give or take, at Newcastle, give or take. Now, if it's true that he's only on 10% of that salary coming to West Ham United, and the remainder, 90%, is all based on appearances, starts, substitutions, goals scored, assists, all that sort of stuff. If that's what it really is, then he is only earning 6 grand a week. I can't see that. But he is only earning 6 grand a week in the Premier League. It sounds not a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money. For us, it's a hell of a lot of money. For a Premier League player, it's not a lot of money. But if that's the reality, then it's all down to Wilson, isn't it? You know, the incentive is there for him to go out and prove that he's capable of actually scoring the goals that we need. But, you know, I guess the problem is, of course, is not so much is he going to go out and score the goals? It's is he going to stay fit? That's the problem with Callum Wilson. And now, of course, we get the John Victor signing, and it does feel a little bit flat. You know, it's like, you know, Graham Potter said, you know, it's going to be exciting summer window. And it started exciting enough, you know, with the signing of El Hadji Malik Diouf. And then we got Carl Walker-Peters, which I don't mind. I think Carl Walker-Peters is a good professional, a good backup to have in the squad. But then, of course, the Callum Wilson signing, it was the thing that kind of killed it for us. We know that's got Sullivan written all over it. There's absolutely no doubt about that's exactly what it is. But if Wilson does score the goals, we're going to thank him. It's only 1 year for the moment. Of course, there's a big danger, isn't there, with Callum Wilson? You know, the danger being, I'm sure you've all worked it out, Callum Wilson does exceptionally well. He scores, I don't know, 10 goals or whatever. And then he's given a 3-year deal on 70, 80 grand a week because Sullivan doesn't learn his lesson. That's the danger with that going well. There we are. Well, I mean, talk about a double whammy. The one side he could get injured and we may never see him, and so he's only going to get paid £6,000 a week, even if he's on the even if he's on the even if he's injured. He'll only earn good money if he comes on, if he starts, if he's on as a sub, if he gets goals, if he makes assists, etc. And the irony is, if he does really well, what's to stop David Sullivan for offering him a longer term deal? Josh, how are you, mate? I'm very well. I hope you are too. Look, West Ham Weekly, it will be back. I promise you. I've taken a long break from doing live shows. I think this is the second, maybe the third one I've done since the season ended. I do promise I'll be back doing the West Ham Weekly on Monday nights again. So do look out for those. Peter, this is the first season I want to finish before it starts. Things are so bad. We can't judge it just yet. We don't know how it's going to go out. And, I'm always optimistic. And we have to go with what we've got. And it might work. It might work. Now, the thing is, I convinced myself, and I'm sure many of us have done, that, the idea of Potter and McCauley, identifying targets, data-driven analysis and all that was to go out and get all these young, dynamic, new players, young players. And the Malik Diouf signing seemed to be the way we were heading. But if you look back on history with Potter and McCauley, not all their signings were young. They started off with quite a few young signings and then a smattering of established players, the likes of, can't remember their names now, but a number of players, if you look back at Brighton, were not all young players. They brought in a couple of experienced players. And maybe, just maybe, this is what's happening. The Wilson one, we know that's a Sullivan signing. But the Walker-Peters one, maybe, yeah. This one, Botafogo's goalkeeper, John Victor. I guess you're going to have to know something about him, and maybe, just possibly, McCauley has done his homework on this player, knowing that we can't afford. And I said this in a show, I think yesterday or the day before. I said this in the show. I think what happened at the end of the season was we all thought, many of us thought, and Potter and McCauley and even Sullivan probably thought, you know what, we're going to sell a few players in order to go and get these. The Hermansons and or the Zion Suzuki's, etc. And I think it's come as a bit of a shock that the only player we've managed to sell so far is Mohamed Kudus. I thought we were going to get, I think many of us thought we'd get bids in for Alvarez. We'd get bids in for a number of other players as well, but that's not materialized. So I guess, you have to adjust, adapt, and then go out and look for, okay, what's the number 2? What's the number 3 target? What happens if we haven't got enough money to buy this keeper? What happens if we haven't got enough money to go out and get ourselves the striker that we want, etc.? And so maybe, just maybe, John Victor has been scouted by McCauley. He may not be the younger keeper that we expect, but we're going to have to know something about him. And like I've said, the Athletic and all the stats seem to suggest he's one of the top keepers in South America right now. He's been looked at by Man United and a number of other clubs as well. Mark, is this 100% true? It's come from Romano. It's nailed on, so we can only expect that to become fact later on today. John, good afternoon to you. I hope you're well. Razor, good afternoon. The problem is this Sullivan always B2 sells up, force, or passes away. Tony, good afternoon. Nice content. If only some other well-meaning fan sites could be so well balanced. And I appreciate that. I really do. Now, I said something that I don't normally say in the show I did this morning. If anyone's watching who's currently a subscriber, but might start thinking, you know what, I don't know if I want to be a subscriber of this channel anymore. What I'd really, really appreciate is before you unsubscribe, is tell me why you would unsubscribe. Because what it helps me do, if you can either message me on this show, leave comments, or you can email me on westhamvoice@gmail.com and tell me, if you're thinking of leaving the channel for whatever reason, why you would. What is it about the content that you kind of don't like and you would consider unsubscribing? Not encouraging you to unsubscribe. I want you all to bloody subscribe. I've got 200 people watching at lunchtime. If you're not a subscriber, what are you waiting for? All the content is free. Free to subscribe as well. But if you are thinking of leaving, message me and tell me why you would do that. Right, let's get back to get off self-promoting and get back to your comments. Let's scroll up. Oh, what happened there? I've lost a whole load of comments. So done that. Zico, good afternoon to you. He sounds like a number 2, but we wish him the best anyway. He does. What else have we got here? Gary, I don't even know if I'm excited about Victor or not, nor do I, to be quite honest with you. Peter Ortega would be a much better option. Solid Premier League goalkeeper. All right, number 2, but he'd be in a number 1 for most Premier League teams, wouldn't he? Stephen, why are people surprised? We've gone for the cheaper option, and if you believe the rumours, we could agree a fee with Leicester. Adam, all right, another crap signing. Just hope we get through the season. Sullivan is penny pinching. He's killing the club, slowly killing my passion for the love of this club. Well, we'll support regardless, won't we, unfortunately? How many points is a cat worth a season? If it's 6 to 8 points, it's a false economy. Cheap is dear in the long run. Agree. Yeah, agree. Simon, if he's that good, ask yourself why Botafogo selling him cheap after 1 season. It's not cheap. They paid £1 million for him. They're making a nice little profit. Thank you very much. Razor, Potter's fault. This is well, Stel. He has enough money to tell Sullivan, I'm off with Macaulay. He'll be respected by all in football. We're doing that, and Sullivan will have had enough of you. I agree with you, but Potter's got a point to prove as well. You know, if Potter can make this work, it will raise his level. Because he's damaged goods in a lot of ways after the Chelsea fiasco. You know, he was going along nicely at Brighton, you know, getting a good reputation for himself. And then it just all crumbled, didn't it, at Chelsea? This is his opportunity. Now, even if he's being dealt a bad hand with regards to transfers, let's see what good a coach he is in trying to make this work. And it's only going to stand in good stead for him if he can make this work. I'm not expecting European football, but at the same time, I'm not expecting to be struggling in a relegation battle either. And if he can get us to mid-table mediocrity in this first season with the deal that he's been handed, I think he would have done well. So I can see why he won't walk away, but I totally get why you say that, Razor. I totally understand that. My pleasure, William, and thanks for your comments in the shows as well. Peter, Areola is poor as first choice. Now we have a poor number 2. What could go wrong? DA, Victor completes replacements of those that let go. Can't see us signing anyone unless we offload some of the deadwood. Agree with that. Good afternoon to you, good evening to you, whatever it is. I hope you're well. Bill, how are you, mate? Areola and Fotheringham, a certain style of goalkeepers, which is not 80% suitable. Why buy another the same? Well, according to the stats and according to the reports, he's got a different style of play. Let's see if he succeeds there. David, he's South American. He can play with his feet. I'm going to skip a few, so do forgive me. I'll get a few more names in. All tackled. How are you? I think give the lad a chance, and if this still frees up some funds for the midfield, and I'm going to come to that in a moment, I'm all for it. If the deal is done, we do need to get behind him. Omar, good afternoon to you. Sullivan quite happy that West Ham just remains a mid-table position in the league. That's why we get cheap average players. He's not willing to push the club higher. This is very disappointing. I agree with you. I do agree. Peter, good afternoon. But good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. But the other thing we've got to accept, like it or not, the other thing we've got to accept is not all our problems in the squad are going to be sorted in the first transfer window. I'd rather see another 1 or 2. Well, maybe I think, with Victor coming, I think we've got one more signing to come, which is midfield. I'd rather see another dynamic signing, and I'm going to come to that in a moment as well, rather than going for a cheaper option or an older player, etc., in midfield, because we need something more dynamic there. But you're not going to sort out all the problems in our squad in one transfer window. If we've sorted out our left side of attack, left side of defense with Malik Diouf, if we can get now a really decent midfielder, fingers crossed, then that would be another answer. But yeah, I agree. Wilson and the likes of Victor are kind of makeshift. They're there for the here and now. But if they can get us through this season in a decent position, then fingers crossed we go out and get a good young striker, and a good young keeper next summer. Fingers crossed. Who else have we got here? Peter. So another keeper to come in. That will make 6 keepers at the club. Not by my count. Foderingham, Areola. Let's say John Victor comes in, and then all the others are all academy keepers. I don't know. You better tell me who the 6 are that I don't know of. Dads, good afternoon to you. Victor Deal should be avoided at all costs. The ongoings being Leon, Forest, and Botafogo are very alarming. Multi-club partnerships helping out each other. Have we got a multi-club partnership with oh, you mean they've got the multi-club partnership? How does that affect us? You're going to have to explain that to me. Dads, there are plenty of goalkeepers that we could have signed with good ball playing distribution. We are in trouble in between the sticks. Gary, had a great time in Chicago. Glad you did, mate. Glad you did. I'm glad you got to that game. Flyfox, 25 to 30 million for a goalkeeper is never going to happen. I agree with you there. Kimbo, same old West Ham, signing old men and sick notes. Good afternoon, Matt. I hope you're well. William, are we in for Honda and Yamaha? Only the Suzuki, but even that is nowhere near. Freedom Sounds, good afternoon to you. I believe it's a shrewd signing. I've watched the Club World Cup in the summer and was impressed with what I saw. Great stuff. The first positive there. Tacitus, good afternoon to you. How on earth will people know he's a terrible signing before he even puts his gloves on? Give him a chance at best. I agree with that. Fly, 29 isn't old for a keeper. That is also true. Keepers flourish as they get older, don't they? So 29 is not necessarily old for a keeper. And yes, he's younger than Areola, and he's younger than Fabianski as well. Mark, how are you, mate? Good to see you down in Hastings the other week. I hope you're well. Fly, a terrible signing by the top Brazilian South American team from the top Brazilian South. If it was a midfielder, we would be cheering it. That's a really good point. Yeah, I agree with that. Mark, if we get a keeper that can keep a clean sheet, then we don't need to stress about scoring. He's back. Let's back every player who wears the shirt. Now, interestingly, I don't know if I've still got the stats up, but interestingly, his stats for, let's see if I've got it here. His stats for keeping clean sheets is really rather good. Let me see if I can bring that up. Right. So when he was at Botafogo, out of 85 games he played for them, 36 clean sheets. Not bad. At Santos, he only played 28 senior games, 9 clean sheets. At Real Valladolid, he played 12 games with 5 clean sheets. So, you know, it's not the worst stats in the world, but it's all in the Brazilian league and the Spanish league for a short while. Peter, I would have been happier had we signed Richard Wilson. When I heard we'd signed Callum Wilson, I said, I don't believe it. Matt, I doubt Wilson will play 30, score 10, but if somehow he manages that, still won't make me like him. He's a twat, in my opinion. Yeah, I look, if he manages 30, I did joke, if he manages 30 minutes this season, I think we'd have done well. Gary, can't be optimistic or pessimistic until I see how this trade window plays out. Good point. Freedom. This is the kind of window we need. Signing players who will have a positive impact on the squad instead of high-priced players. And remember, Potter brought in likes of Welbeck and Lana. Thanks for reminding me of the names. Now, this is the point that I think maybe we all miss, and I certainly have. I've certainly missed it because my head was all about younger players, more dynamic players who can do a job now and are going to be big value in the future. But you're absolutely right. You know, haven't we had enough of the big price players who really? Let's look at Kudus, for example. You know, brought in at quite a high price, paid a decent salary, and didn't really show up last season. I wonder how he's going to do for Spurs. Not that I give a damn, but anyway. But you've got a point there, Freedom. You know, what Potter has done, he has brought in some solid players in the past. And maybe, let's give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe it is Macaulay who's identified John Victor as a decent player. And I agree, it is for the here and now. He's not for the future. But if he can give us a couple of good seasons so that then we can go out and get ourselves a younger goalkeeper, why not? Wilson, 1-year deal. We know that's not on Potter. Stephen, I don't think the Victor deal is Sullivan's. He's not a sought house client. Raja, any news on him? Well, apparently he picked up a knot that we didn't know about. We weren't made aware of, and he's recovering from that. Now, it's going to be interesting to see whether Emerson actually stays at West Ham or whether he gets sold. There's a lot of talk about him going, being linked to clubs back in Italy, but he picked up a knock, which we didn't know about, which is why he didn't go out to America. Omar, now we got him time to bid for Lamar. Of course we will. Matt, didn't SMB say judge us at the end of the window? Judge you whenever I wanna. The young left wing back is best out of the three players of of Walker Peters. Wilson is a kick in the teeth when we got Mick. I know, but we like other people have said, let's see how it's going to go in this coming season. Dad's goalkeepers we could have got Bulker of Nice, Nicholas of Gladbach, Nubel of Stuttgart, Merritt on a free. Yeah, I don't deny that there are other keepers we could have gone for. Mark, let's be honest, as a Hammers fan, we don't have European football, so great players don't want to join. We can't even give players away at the moment. Antos, and that's a really good point. Anthos, is he the new Roberto? Let's judge him when he starts playing for us before we say that he is. Doogie, good afternoon, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Much appreciated. DA, it's hard to believe that there have been no bids for a Gerd, Emerson, or Alvarez. Rodriguez, anyone? Nothing. A Gerd, loan deals, but we don't want to send him out on loan. He's now been given the number 5 shirt. Emerson, well, he's getting back from being injured. So let's see if that materializes. And Alvarez is an interesting one. I think he's staying. To be quite honest with you. Mark, happy with spending a smaller sum on goalkeeper if we splash the cash on a box-to-box. So I'll leave that there for a moment. Let me give you an update on some other news that came out this afternoon. Raheem Sterling, anyone? I know. What is he on? 280, 290, 300 grand a week or whatever it is at Arsenal. His loan deal at Chelsea didn't really transpire to much. There's talk about him being linked to us for this summer. A loan deal maybe, but I genuinely cannot see this happening. I think that would be the final nail in the coffin for a lot of fans. So I'm not holding up much on this one, but you will be seeing the news coming out later. But interestingly, how about Bayer Leverkusen's box-to-box dynamic midfielder, Ezequiel Palacios? World Cup winner with Argentina. How realistic is this? Now, there seems to be an avalanche of players leaving Bayer Leverkusen. The Eric Ten Hag effect? I don't know. You tell me. But player after player after player is currently leaving Bayer Leverkusen. And this has been quoted by Sky Sports earlier today. Now, Sky Sports wouldn't come out with a story like that if there wasn't some element of truth in it. Now, Palacios is worth £40 million. And what I've been saying is, if we've gone out and bought ourselves a cheaper keeper in order to spend the money on a good midfielder, Ezequiel Palacios, anyone? 26 years of age. He's at the peak of his game. Why would he come to West Ham United? Who knows? Why would he come to West Ham United? But at 40 million euros, we can afford it. If that's the big spend that we're going to do in this summer transfer window. Don't forget, we don't spend the whole 40 million in one go. So we'll agree a deal. He'll be given a 5-year contract. We'll be paying that money back over 5 years. So you're talking about, I don't know, 8 mil down payment, give or take, something like that. So it's possible, but why would he come to West Ham? I don't know. But that's the big story out today, apart from the John Victor story, is Sky Sport have reported this, that Ezequiel Palacios is on the listed as being a player that we're interested in. If that happens, wow. Do I believe it will happen? No, of course I don't. Let's scroll down. Digger, good afternoon to you. Noble Mackay is another Sullivan stooge. Stephen, Mark Noble, Mackay is another son. The list is endless. He's one of them. I didn't understand that. Are you talking about Mark Noble or someone else? I didn't understand. Peter, Stel is so laid back. It's amazing he doesn't fall off his chair. Aidan, good afternoon to you. Good evening from Australia. Good evening, mate. I hope you're well. Wilson is disappointing. Victor is unknown. I'm more upbeat about the season because of the vibe that seems to be happening within the group coming out of the summer series. And we've got to talk about that because it is a good vibe at the moment. I wonder if it's all down to one player having left. Hey, who knows? Who knows when you've only got to try and think about what happened last season and the feeling around some of the games and some of the players and some of their attitudes. You know, Brentford, for example, at halftime, what happened then when a certain player was substituted and he wasn't happy about it? You heard about fallouts between players and stuff like that. Well, you heard about fallouts between players during training. Wasn't it Mikel Antonio who accused a certain player who's left of not passing the ball often enough? And then you look at how the game was played last season when a certain player, when he could have passed the ball easier to another player who was in a better position, decided to take it on his own and then get into the 18-yard box and then passing it backwards. You know who I mean? Now, I'm not blaming it all on Mohamed Kudus, but is it too coincidental that the feeling around the club seems to be a lot lighter? Everyone is smiling. Fulkrug seems to be happy. Remember Fulkrug's interview when he said, you know, they're not following the coach's orders? Who would that have been about? I just wonder. You know, it seems a happier camp. And a happier camp means that, you know, it will be a bit more coherent this season. Fulkrug looks fit. Paquetá looks a lot fitter, a lot better, happier now that the FA charges have been dropped. The feeling around the squad at the moment seems to be quite buoyant. Look at the Americans tour. Were we outplayed by any teams? Maybe the first 20 odd minutes against Bournemouth. Yes, we were. And maybe Bournemouth, if they'd have taken their chances, would have been, you know, would have won the game quite easily. But I saw a resilience in West Ham against Man United. I still don't think they're a very good team, but against Man United in that first game, I think we did really well. I think we controlled the tempo of the game. Against Everton, we did really well. We controlled the tempo of the game. We were under the cosh against Bournemouth, and they're the teams that we're going to, Everton and Bournemouth are the teams that we're going to be fighting. Well, Man U as well, because I don't think they're going to do that well. But these are the teams, it shows the measure of what we're about next season. And we did well to win that game after being under the cosh. Oh, Haji Malik Diouf. Those crosses, if we get more of those crosses in throughout the season, I think we've got a dynamic player on our hands. So overall, yeah, there is a good vibe. You're absolutely right, Hayden. James, afternoon, sir. Good afternoon to you, mate. I hope you're well. I am too. Can someone tell me why Carl McCauley's role is again if Sullivan is dealing? What's Carl McCauley's role if Sullivan is wheeling and dealing? I got what you meant now. I think you meant there, Digger. Noble and McCauley, another Sullivan stooge. Correct me if I'm wrong there. I don't know, mate. I'm hoping that McCauley is the one that's picked out John Victor to be signed. You know, I'm unsubscribing because of your hipster glass. You do that. I'm hoping that Victor has identified, McCauley has identified Victor as being a goalie that we should sign. That's what I'm hoping for. Do I believe it? Not really. Neil, don't know anything about the keeper, but doesn't really matter to me. Our biggest threat to next season remains with the current midfield options, and I 100% agree with you there. Scott, morning to you, mate. Quiet in the chat as I'm preparing a great big brunch for company. You do that, mate. Oh, I'm hungry now. MD, for your information, this is the best fan channel. It's well balanced. You seem like West Ham, unlike other. Thank you. Look, all each to their own, but I really, really do appreciate that. Thank you, MD. Thank you for saying that. Danny. I was out in Chicago and Atlanta, got to meet the lads. The chemistry between the team is unreal. Everybody seems happy. Good to see. Digger. That's fantastic, mate. It's the biggest, if it's the biggest word, if is the biggest word there is still. I know that, mate. I know. Mounster. His bank balance didn't crumble still. Let's scroll down. Let's get a few more comments in. Dick, well, he's cheap, so the Hobbit will be happy. Matt, Sully is a car boot salesman. He would sell his nan's 1899 China plate set worth £1,000 for epoxy score. Dads, there's also an Estonian goalkeeper called Carl Jacobine, who is young and has excellent ball distribution stats for Valladolid. Valladolid. I'm Brew, Iniesta. Good afternoon to you. Ben Doak would be an exciting option down the right. He's so direct, loves to take on his man, the type of player that fans love. Watch his highlights against Croatia. He ripped Guardiola apart. Now, what I'm doing at this moment in time, when I'm reading transfer stories, there's so many coming out. I'm avoiding striker stories and winger stories. I'm going like, we're done now. You know, we've got enough. You know, not only have we got enough wingers with Somerville coming back, etc., but we've also got good wing backs as well on both sides. So any story about a winger, I'm going, nah. Any story about a striker with Wilson coming in, I'm going, no. Because what Potter has also alluded to is not only will Callum Wilson come in, have his chance, Fulkrug, etc., but he's also bigged up Callum Marshall, implying that Callum Marshall won't be going out on loan this season and will be part of the first team squad. So that's why I'm avoiding any more links to any strikers. But now it really, and with the goalie coming in, it looks like we're down now to getting in a good midfielder. Josh, honestly, you're the only channel. Thank you. A lot of channels feel like they're playing up to the fans' anger. I can do that. When I'm angry, I get angry, and I get really pissed off. But I can't. Like I said, each to their own. Each channel has a different approach. I can't do the anger. I'm too old. You'll end up watching me have a heart attack on screen. You don't want that, do you? What happened to the Areola of 21-22? He's become Super Roberto. That's a really good point, Matt. When he came in, we were lauding him. Do you remember when Areola first came in? And we were going, well, come on. When's he going to become our number one? He should be number one now. And then the performances he was putting in, especially in the Europa League, that save against Seville at our ground, that save he pulled off, superb reflexes. Where has that keeper gone? Josh, I'm somewhat excited to watch us next season. However, against Bournemouth, we really just let them play their game, soaked up the pressure for a long time. We were lucky not to concede. It's true. Gaza, Fabianski was 33 winning sign. Let's not forget that. Really good point. Really good point. Carl, not thrilled with the signing, but the only thing to do as a fan is to back the player as we do. Hopefully, where did that go? Hopefully, Potter sees something in him that a lot of fans don't. I agree. Anthony, where am I at? I need to catch up because I need to get back to work. Anthony, Potts played well against Bournemouth. Needs to be starting this season. Potts played exceptionally well. Aren't we happy and aren't we pleased that not only are the academy players getting a chance, but they're proving that they're worthy of being given that chance? Now, I did start the summer saying I think only Potts is going to be the only academy player to join Ollie Scholes in the senior team. I think Callum Marshall will now as well. And I'm really excited to see that. Dads, Lucas Stassin will not be leaving Saint-Etienne this summer. He has a bad hamstring injury, also has a metal plate removed from his foot. Won't be fit in time. Sign him up. He's ready to sign up for us, mate. Neil, if the midfielder turns out to be Brownhill, that will confirm our fears about Sullivan. I agree. I agree with that. Totally, Neil. Irons, let's be honest, no one really knows what Victor is really like. The noises coming out of Brazil is he's a really good goalkeeper. Look at Areola, mistakes are unforgivable and would give anyone else a chance. I agree. We've got to see what he's like. Dale, underwhelming by Victor signing. Hope I'm proved wrong. It's probably the most important position on the pitch. In addition to, no, you're right. If you're solid at the back, right at the back, then it sort of emanates into the whole team. But let's see. He might turn out to be good. We should have got Ramsdale on loan. That was the deal we missed on. Well, I don't know about that, Dads, because a lot of fans were very anti-Ramsdale. Very anti-Ramsdale. Usual. Shame about the Maddison injury at the Spuds. Only plus side. Plenty of time to improve his darts. Mind games. All right, let's get that midfielder. Absolutely. He'd do well at Newcastle. He'll be their number 2. But Ramsdale coming in at West Ham, would he have been the number 1? John, Areola and Victor will see us through until the academy goalkeepers are ready. That's a good point. William, hopefully he turns out smashing. Stel, let's see how he does. Absolutely. Josh, I've got into my head that given our position last season, we're making use of experience to keep us afloat until we balance. Given Wilson is only on a year's contract. I think that too. That's what it seems to be. It seems to be sort of battening down the hatches. We're not just going to go out and defend. We're going to try and attack as well. We've got different options. They're not the options we want. They're not the options I would have bought in. But I think you've got a point there, Josh. Josh again. Not all saying I'm happy with the signings, purely coping here, as we all are. 3 Irons, good afternoon to you. Sorry, I'm going off subject. What do you think of the new third kit? I like it. I don't know why the crossed hammers is so enormous, but I don't mind it. It's got nothing to do with West Ham, yellow and blue, more like Wimbledon of old, but I don't mind it. You know, do you know what? I tell you what, all 3 kits have grown on me. Seeing them now, I would have liked a bit more blue on the home shirt. Of course I would. I think we all would have done. But I quite like the home kit. It's not as awful as I thought it'd be. I quite like the second kit. It's nice. It's a bit more classic. It's almost white. I know it's meant to be that sort of off-whitey colour, but that's quite nice as well. And I don't mind them. What do you think? William, John Victor, welcome to West Ham United. Any news on the Backer deal? No news at all. To be quite honest with you. Chewbacca. Josh, good afternoon, Toho. I hope you're well. Moyes managed to decline, then Lopetegui screwed it all up, and it takes longer than a season to get a steady. Maybe it's wishful thinking, given our owners, though. Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It won't take just this summer transfer window to sort all our problems out. I don't know what's happening with the screen. It's jumping in and out. Freedom. I bet Paquetá is happy with another countryman signing for us, and Wilson definitely help his younger namesake push on as well. Absolutely. Wilson will be good for Callum Marshall. I think Callum Marshall will learn a lot from him. And having 3 Brazilians in the team, it's not bad, is it? Is it? You know, Paquetá, Guilherme, and now Victor, you know, they could all do the samba dance together. I'm getting annoyed with my screen because it's jumping. Gaza. Emerson only has 1 year left on his contract. He could stay this season and get a better deal. Yeah, he could. He could see it out. Biglow, good afternoon to you. Hope you're all well. Do you feel that we will have a good season now, or are people still a bit doubtful after last term? I'd love to say I don't think it's going to be as bad as next season. It's how we start and how we maintain ourselves, etc. But with experience coming in, you'd hope that it will steady us a little bit more. Neil, from what I've seen pre-season, I would much rather give Callum Marshall a go ahead of Wilson. There's no logic behind his signing, going off last season, 0 goals in a more attacking side. Yeah, I think both Callums will get their chances. I really do. Who else we got? Frog, good afternoon to you. We're not complaining about that cheapie. Wan-Bissaka, players that commit and fit is the key. Really good point. Wan-Bissaka came in, 29 years of age and 15 mil. And we didn't complain about that. And he ended up becoming Hammer of the Year. Toho, mate, I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Dick, until Sullivan goes, it's always going to be cheap. Cheap is good if it's the right cheap. Gual boy. Sorry, mate. I can't pronounce it. Gual boy. Good afternoon to you. I know I've screwed that up. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Now you're not going to say it. Good show now that I've got your name wrong. Robbie, hello to you, mate. I hope you're well. The cat, good afternoon to you. Remember Craig Dawson? This is it. You know, sometimes the cheapies do work. Mark, how are you, mate? If you look at Forest, they finished just outside the relegation zone, then brought players in, Matt Zeltz being one of them, who people thought would be terrible, and he's now an excellent goalkeeper at Forest. Razor. All need to be gone. Rodriguez, Ward-Prowse, Souček, Emerson, Irving, and get Alvarez sold or play him. We won't miss any of them, especially if we buy quality. If we do, I totally agree. Who else have we got down here before I say bid you a good afternoon? Dan, Sullivan is signing players to keep us in the Premier League rather than trying to aim for top 6. Honestly, though, Dads, did you really think at any point we will be really targeting top six this season. I certainly don't, and as much as I love it to happen, I don't think it's realistic. Who else have we got here? Ray of Hope. Good afternoon, Ray of Hope. Good afternoon, Ray. Still, I understand Sullivan's mind. He's perfect, Chelsea. I understand Sullivan's mind. He's perfect. Chelsea, we pay most of his wages. I can see Sullivan rubbing his grubby hands. What on the link to what's his name? Who did I say a moment ago? He's forgotten him already. Raheem Sterling. That's the latest, people. For those of you who've joined late, apparently Raheem Sterling is being linked to us. I don't believe it for a moment. And do I believe this one? Ezequiel Palacios, worth about 40 million euros, apparently wanting to leave Bayer Leverkusen. And there's an avalanche of players leaving Bayer Leverkusen. And Sky Sports have linked Palacios to West Ham. Dads, Arsenal have Sterling on loan, and Chelsea paid his. Was it the other way around? My mistake. What did I say? Yeah. So Chelsea paid all his wages. I don't know if I want Raheem Sterling at West Ham, to be honest with you. I really don't. Robbie, swap Emerson and cash for Palacios. Oh, wow. Is this keeper any good? I've been through it, mate. But all the scout reports seem to suggest he's not a bad keeper. But we've got to take it in context that he's only played his football primarily in Brazil, despite a short spell in Spain. But he's got great stats. He's got great, details about him, but based on his game in Brazil. Mackay was involved in the Salah deal. Okay, I got you. Neil. Surely the vibe is down to Tim being shoved out. Surely, after all, he was responsible for all our crap signings and performances. This is the interesting thing. Do you remember this time last year when we were signing all these great players? Wow, we smashed the transfer window. What happened? What happened? I know people are going to say, "Well, we got the wrong manager in." Well, perhaps. Housefly, good afternoon to you. Can we imagine if we get Palacios? That's been said. We're in talks. So yeah. We're in talks, apparently. Palacios will make up for an awful lot of wrongs in this transfer window. Do I believe it? I want to believe it. Do I think it's going to happen? Let me repeat, we can afford him. We can absolutely afford him because we will not be paying the £40 million out all in one go. We'll be paying a down payment, whatever it may be, 8, 10, 12 million pounds. We've got that in the bank from the Kudus sale. So the money's there. So maybe there's a logic to bringing in a cheap keeper in the likes of John Victor, because we're going to pay a lot of money for someone like Palacios. I want to believe that is where we're going. Do I think it's going to happen? Of course I don't. But what if we got Ezequiel Palacios to West Ham United? The box-to-box midfielder we've been crying out for longer than I care to remember, ever since that bloke went to Arsenal. Big low, or big LOL. I'm glad Kudus is gone, especially to the Spuds, because it looks like all their players are leaving. Careful what you wish for, Kudus. Grass isn't always greener. Let's see what happens with him. Usual. Sky Sports, Sky News, peak journalist integrity. All right, usual. Michael, could Potts be the box-to-box midfielder we're crying out for in a three of Alvarez, Paquetá and Potts? No, I don't think he's ready yet. I think he could get there, but I think it will take a couple of seasons before he does get there. Lee, afternoon, Stel. Is it true about Sterling, mate? It's true in the sense that the reports are out that we're linked to him, but nothing more than that at this moment in time. William, Aurelio cost us the Summer Cup, Stel. Well, he did. Mark, I think it's going to be getting that. I think it's going to be getting that experience and right attitude in to blend perfectly with the youth, which is why I'm not against Wilson signing. All part of the plan. Trudge, good afternoon to you. Why play 1.2 compensation for Macaulay? Well, I said earlier, I think possibly we needed to understand who John Victor was, and I would think that Macaulay has done his job there. Let's see. We signed through agents and not scouts. When is Brownhill joining? Kent, good afternoon, mate. Sorry if this has already been asked, but do you think, as well as Victor, we sign another goalkeeper and Ariolo? Yeah, I said that right at the start of the show because when I talked about Victor and his qualities, etc., especially the Athletic, who's written about him, a scout report about him, do look that up. Look up, Google John Victor the Athletic, and that will come up. And one of the things that the Athletic said was right at the end was he'd make a great number 2 in a top European club. So does that mean is our business done in terms of goalies? Or, as you've just rightly asked, Kent, does it mean that Ariola's on his way out and we will still sign Suzuki or Hermansen? Still a way to go in the transfer market, isn't there? Trudge, we won't sign an Estonian keeper. We will sign a dystopian keeper. Elbow, good afternoon to you. I think Victor is going to be more commanding and vocal by the looks of it rather than Areola. I don't think it was Sullivan, this one. Like I said, someone would have had to scout him, and I would put that down to Macaulay. Dads, there's a number of trialists playing in a behind closed doors friendly for West Ham against Lille this weekend. This game is also to give players who haven't had much game time over pre-season. Behind closed doors? What behind closed doors? It's going to be who are we playing at the weekend? It is Lille, isn't it? It's not behind the. Dads, you're confusing me. You need to explain that, mate. Dear, what behind closed doors? How many of our young players? Oh, do you mean in addition to the game on Saturday? Okay, DA. How many of our young stars will be in the squad? Some of the old pros blocking their progress? No, I don't know. I think Potts is nailed on. I think Potts has done enough to demand or command a place in the squad. I think, and even given the new shirt number, I think suggests quite clearly that he's going to be part of the senior squad. I think Callum Marshall is the one that's worked his way into the squad, and I'll be really, really disappointed if we loan him out. I think he will be, even despite signing Callum Wilson, I think Callum Marshall will also be in the squad next season. Peter, Spurs are worried that they won't sell many shirts now that Son has left. Well, yeah, why didn't we go for Son? Would we have been happy if we asked 15 mil for Son? Would you have taken that? Would you have done that? Trudge, notice how Morton is now under 10 million. If Sullivan signed him, would have been 20. I don't know, mate. GJ, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Thank you for joining. Let's scroll down because I've got to go. Michael. So do forgive me, I'm not reading out all your comments. Victor is Brazilian. Could keep Paquetá here if we have a few in the squad. There's a show coming out about Paquetá later on today, so do look out for that. I might have to go in and change it now with news about Palacios, etc. Ken, as you know, Stel, I've seen many green shoots during the American tour. As you know from my post yesterday, I read that. 3 more signings, possibly 4, including Victor, and I think we'll be okay. I genuinely don't think we'll get that many more, mate. I think Victor will be the next one, and quite possibly a box-to-box midfielder, and I think that's it. Unless we start now selling players and then we replace like for like. But I think as it stands right now, Victor coming in, I think we've got a midfielder coming in, and I think that's our lot. The only time we're going to bring any more players in is if we start selling. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got? Phil. Sign unknown players could be a positive turning point for West Ham. It could be, absolutely. Trudge, Wilson, Brownhill, Walker Peters, not really unknown. Well, no, but Brownhill has not been named yet. I'm not expecting him to be named either. Steve, the signing on Victor only pleased me if we go and get a marquee midfielder and not a freebie in Brownhill. Agreed, Steve. Elbow, every goalkeeper is a mistake in them. Suzuki looked a bit of a nutter, flying all over the place, punching, and I hear Hermansen pounces. I hope he's not poncing. Pounces about trying to be Messi in his 6-yard box. See, yeah, good and bad for all goalkeepers. Cram, if this cheap keeper buy allows us to get a young dynamic midfielder and maybe a striker, I'll be pretty hopeful for next season. Trudge, we're in this situation in the first place, doing exactly what we're now doing, spending on old players with zero resale. Totally agree. I 100% agree on you. But let's look at it in context. Walker Peters to me is very much like a Aaron Wan-Bissaka signing last summer. 28 years of age, only just turned 28 years of age, coming in for nothing, a good backup, a good player that can play in a number of positions. I don't think that's bad. Wilson coming in, I didn't like it, but for 1 year on 90% of his salaries based on performance related, etc. All right, you kind of accept that, but I get you. It would have been better had we signed a younger keeper. Sorry, a younger striker. With Victor, like people have been saying, if we're going to go out now and get ourselves a good dynamic box to box midfielder like Palacios, then I think all will be forgiven. Let's scroll down. Who else have we got here? Steve, in my opinion, season depends on Fulkrug staying fit, which I doubt considering his injury record, and we're all worried about that. Totally agree. Frog, tend to agree, Trodge, not particularly solving problems. They are for now, and I agree. They're for the here and now. They're not for the long term, and I know that's not good. English Yardie, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Good afternoon to you, Gaz. I hope you're well. Good afternoon to you, English Yardie. Browning makes no sense. Brownhill makes no sense. He won't replace Ward-Prowse in the middle. We need an alpha male midfielder in the middle to complement Potts and Paquetá. Totally agree. And as I said earlier on in the show, we're linked to Ezequiel Palacios of Bayern Leverkusen. How realistic this is, I really do not know. But it's going to be quite interesting to see if that happens. Bruno, I hope you're well, mate. I know, mate. I know. Lunchtime, and my lunchtime is over, so I'm going in a minute. But yeah, I know. Lunchtime session. Diggy, a joke signing for a joke owner. Yet another agent-driven signing still. Now we should be preparing ourselves for the signing of Brownhill and Raheem Sterling. Joe Delar, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. Sterling, no, Sterling, definitely not. Oh dear, Sterling, no. Chris, the cat. Realistically, we have to accept evolution rather than revolution. Revolution takes money, and we're nowhere near that right now. That's a really, really good point. I'm scrolling down because I really need to go. Dean, Victor is decent, apparently. I genuinely think McCauley has scouted him. I may be wrong, but that's my view. That's what I mentioned earlier on, mate. Scott, if we play as a team and solidify our midfield, we will have vastly improved. That I agree with. Chris, let's get it right. We're hoping an owner that can't even get the kit right, the manager right. He's never got anything right. If we did the opposite to what he wants, we'd be massive already. Glenn, for the religious amongst us, we're signing a good striker who's actually the fourth sign of the apocalypse. Scott, in regards to Areola, I did see some progression in the third game. He caught a cross, punched across, and distributed the ball better. Maybe there's hope. Maybe there is. Maybe the new goalkeeping coaches have got under his skin a little bit. You have joined a little bit late, Aaron. It was an impromptu one, but thanks for joining anyway. Ronnie, Areola needs to go to a team who don't play out from the back, and there aren't that many left due to the trends. Abroad, maybe. Saudi, maybe. Diggy, why on earth did Sullivan spend over $1 million on McCauley when we're seeing a window dominated by agent-driven signings? I wonder what McCauley and Potter think. Like I said, I think quite possibly John Victor is a McCauley find. I really do. I think someone will have had to scout him to know the style of play, his stats, etc. And I just wonder maybe whether McCauley is the one that's identified. Given that our targets are real, the likes of Hermansen, etc., are not within our reach, I just wonder if McCauley's gone, all right, this is how much money we've got. Here's the best of for that money. The cat, when Earthy returns from injury, which was meant to be before the start of the season, he's out for a while. We don't know if it'll be before the start of the season. It's maybe unlikely, but Earthy's also had his squad number changed, so they may be thinking that he will be part of the senior squad as well. I think Earthy will be sent out on loan, and if he misses out being sent on loan during this transfer window, it may happen in the winter. Salama, if we get two energetic midfielders, think we're going to be okay. If we get one, I'll be grateful. I doubt very much we'll get two. Peter, should give Cornet away as it will only use up a place in the squad and not help us at all. That's if he gets named in the squad. Mr. London, the time this club will progress is when Sully and Brady and his son, and Brady are all out of the club. We never hear from the post office man again. Who else have we got here? Darren. Stel, why does it say the end of 6 foot? Why does it say the end on 6'2"? What says the end on 6'2"? I don't understand. You're gonna have to explain that to me. John, good afternoon, mate. I hope you're well. I really need to go. And I will try and finish off with a few more comments. Walker Peters is really good, not a backup. James, yeah, good point. Darren, afternoon to you as well. Everyone can see us signing Man City keeper as well. And also, can you see? Can Afternoon, Stel, and everyone. Can you see us signing the Man City keeper as well? I did a show this morning suggesting that maybe Stefan Ortega was linked to us. Now, I don't think so, with this suggestion that Victor is definitely signing. And can you also see the young midfielder who only played a few minutes in one game, possibly getting more game time? No. Preston Fearon will almost definitely go out on loan this season. I hope it's to a championship team, not a lower league team. And yes, I'm going on Saturday, so we'll see you there. That's it. I've got to go. I really have got to go. Thank you all for joining me. Really, really much appreciated. I've enjoyed it, actually. You know, I've kind of stopped doing live shows, but I actually have enjoyed it. So thank you all for joining me. I will be back soon. So the headlines are that it looks as if, according to Romano, it's a done deal for John Victor. I guess, you know, just signing now the contract, etc., getting all that done, getting the medical done, etc. But that's the understanding. Does it mean that John Victor will come in to replace or challenge Areola in the number one spot, or will he be the number two? If he's the number two, does it still mean that we might be looking for yet another keeper to come in addition to John Victor, and maybe Areola leaving the club? We don't know yet. That's the headline. The other headline is, of course, that we've been linked to Raheem Sterling. I don't hold much court in that, to be quite honest with you. I doubt very much that's really going to happen, but that's the story that's come out. And apparently we're linked to Ezequiel Palacios of Bayer Leverkusen for 40 million euros. How realistic is that? I really don't know. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for getting involved. West Ham Weekly will be back on Monday night, so do watch out for that. I promise you that show will be back. There might be another live show before then. I don't know yet, but look out for all the pre-recorded shows as well. I've got to go. See you all soon.